Ah yes, another idyllic scene, a rural scene with the crops growing here. They're getting pretty full in the head. It's been planted early in the spring and here they are growing. I think this is barley, and you can see some of the tracks there of the planters. And can you imagine the farmers a little while back taking out the seed and plowing the land and preparing it and then planting the seed with the expectation of a wonderful crop. That's what farmers do. And yet in the church you would find some people will say, well, you know, when we give to the Lord and we sow our seed, we shouldn't really expect anything, because after all we don't give in order to get, because, you know, we've got pure motives. Well, that's a lot of nonsense, because, you know, the Lord has set in motion the principle of sowing and reaping, and motives are a thing of the heart, and you know, only the Lord can change your heart. So who are you trying to fool? You know, least of all the Lord, most of all yourself, and maybe a few others. But when you sow with an expectation. Sort out your heart in the matter of your relationship with the Lord, and when sowing comes, it's just going to be a natural expression of a good heart. But when you actually sow, you sow with an expectation of reaping an abundant harvest. And the way God has designed things is to set it up so that when you sow something, you always reap more in return, more than you sowed. And that's how multiplication and increase takes place in your life. That works financially. It works as well as the Word of God, that when the Word of God is sown into the world, like God sowed Jesus into the world, He planted one son and he fell to the ground and was buried and then raised from the dead, and he inherited and reaped many, many sons and daughters as a consequence of that sowing. So God, with His own level of faith, if you can put it that way, sowed the seed of His Son into the world and reaped an abundant harvest throughout the ages. So when we do anything, let's do it with an expectation of faith, a faith that pleases God, and not some stupidity, some false humility in the area of sowing without an expectation. That's something to think about. I'm not trying to be offensive and be unnecessarily unkind, but you know, it's only the truth that will set you free. So why not sow with an expectation? Say, God, here's my seed. I sow it to your glory, with an expectation that you will take what I've sown and multiply it to your glory.